Welcome back to the Immigration Answers Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode number 802 of the Immigration Answers Show. I'll be here for the next hour or so trying to answer all of your immigration law related questions. Let me go turn that light off. That's annoying. How's everybody doing? What's going on? I am in sunny Maryland. Well, I guess the sun just went away, so it's not so sunny. How are you all doing? part of my world tour. I'm in the Eastern time zone now. I've been in all 4 time zones in the last 7 days. So sort of crazy. Hello, TikTok. How are you? I will be answering as many questions as I can for the next hour. We're on our lunch break. And this is episode 802 of the show. Today is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. And as Nishad points out, the stock market's doing great, down about 3%. Thanks, Donald Trump, you moron. Absolute moron. They don't care at all about you or your investments. All they care about is not paying taxes and being as greedy and rich as possible. Big ups to all the Yardies. Kala Lily Files says, big ups, Jim. One love. I agree. One love. How is everybody? What's going on? I saw that Nurse Lars put in her 2 weeks today. She's been there 7 years, so I'm sure they'll all be very sad to see her go. I'm sure she's a great team member. All right. I'm going to get right to it, and I'm going to talk to Francesca. Hello.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
I spent one of my high school years in Maryland as an exchange student. I'm a green card holder in Columbia,
Nice.
Maryland.
Nice.
Okay, so here's my questions. I'm a permanent resident and I filed the I-130 for my husband 1 year ago. I'm not in a rush. I'm just asking for so that I know what's gonna happen later. So in July 2026, I'm gonna be able to apply for my citizenship. My question is, can I move to another state right now? I'm living in California. Can I move to a different state? Is it going to be a problem? Is it going to delay stuff?
Totally fine.
Totally fine. Perfect.
This is for an overseas
Um,
case, right?
what was that?
This is for an overseas case.
Yeah, he's in Italy and
So
I'm in the US.
the only thing you need to think about is you need to live in your new city for 90 days before you apply for citizenship.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Oh, thank you for
Yep.
telling me.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So he's Palestinian. He was born and raised in Lebanon, but he's Palestinian. He's never been to Palestine. So, like you told me last year, he's gonna get his Italian citizenship first. I didn't know this when I applied, otherwise I would have waited. So I'm not in a rush, definitely. I only did the I-130. What's the next step? Do I have to wait for them to send me an email or something for the affidavit of support? Or what do I have to do? What am I waiting for now? What am I supposed to do? What's the next step?
That's a lot of questions all at once.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I believe that your I-130 will remain pending until you become a citizen.
Okay.
So the next thing that will happen chronologically, most likely, is that you'll apply for your N400, you'll get approved to be a citizen, and then you'll notify USCIS, and then his case will get upgraded. They're not working very hard on green card cases or immigrant visa cases filed by green card holders because they know there's a 3 or 4 year backlog. So
Mhm.
it won't be until you get your citizenship that your husband's case will start moving.
Okay. When I'm out of the US, because right now I'm spending like 5 months in Italy and 7 months or something in the US
Yeah,
so that I can be with my husband.
yeah.
When I'm not in the US, can I move my address to a PO box, or is it a problem if USCIS is gonna send me something?
I would say that's going to be a problem, and you shouldn't do that.
Okay, I won't. Um, do they send letters abroad? No, it's not a good idea anyway to change my address to an Italian address. If I want
Nope,
citizenship, I wouldn't do that, right?
that's right.
Okay. Um, this I already asked. Oh, is it a problem if I keep doing this like 5 months in Italy and 7 in the US?
No, it's just what CBP is going to give you a hard time if they think you're residing outside the United States, but you can just say I'm waiting for my husband to get his visa, and so that I'm as long as you're not gone for more than 6 months, they should let you right back in.
Never, never. And okay, cool. Thank you. And I think the last one, oh yeah, I've got the jury duty letter because right now my address is at a friend's house. I got the jury duty letter several times and I know I can't do it, but what happens if I don't see the letter because he lives in Pacific Palisades, so his house burned down. Um, so I'm sure I missed some letters.
Well,
What happens if I miss a letter of jury duty and I can't tell them that I can't do it because I'm a green card holder, I'm not a citizen? Am I gonna get in trouble?
So, how many times have you gotten jury duty notices?
I got 2 letters
Uh-huh.
so far
And when you
in the
received them,
last 3
what did you
months.
do?
Well, one of them I got, so he sent a photo of the letter, and I just did everything online. I said that I was a green card holder. All fine, okay. I don't
You,
have to do it. The second
you,
time,
you proof of that?
yeah, the yeah, it was yeah, I saved it and I received the email of confirmation. Yeah, I saved everything.
So, to me, if a green card holder starts getting a notice of jury summons, I believe that there may be a 50-50 chance that somewhere in the California government system they have you listed as a citizen. Otherwise,
Oh, I talked to them and I said, I'm a green card holder. They said, oh, it doesn't matter if you have any document, any ID or anything like a license, even if you're not a citizen, you're still gonna get these. I said, okay, can I just tell you that I'm not? And can you just not send them to me because I'm out of the country? They said, no, you're still gonna get them and you always have to go online and say you're not a citizen.
okay.
That's
So
what they said to me.
that's total BS.
Nice.
I've never heard of anyone else having this happen to them. You need to go see a supervisor and you need to document the shit out of this because somewhere in there, I believe they think maybe when you got your driver's license that they registered you to vote. So you need to check all that stuff before
Okay.
you leave to Italy.
Okay. Okay, I'll check. I'm already in Italy actually, but
Oh,
yes, I'll
okay.
check when I come back in May. Perfect. Okay, thank you
Thanks,
so
Francesca.
much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
See ya. Yep. All right, let's go over to L. Hello, L. You're on mute. It's so funny. The
Hi,
first
Jim.
person. Hi, go ahead.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to finally talk to you. I've been watching you all the
Sure.
years.
Awesome. Welcome. Thank you for coming on the
Congratulations
show.
on your 802 show.
Thanks.
Yeah, a quick one. I'm a type that I love to do things by myself and probably make the mistake and then you learn. You do it right the next time.
Okay.
I know when it comes to legal matters, you want to know how to do it. So I got married and then I'm under the TPS. So I filed for a work authorization. It came through, though it came late. It's expiring early June. So I applied for the I-130 and the adjustment of status.
Uh-huh.
So I'm now to apply for the work authorization with the marriage base. My question is, what category do I fall under?
C8.
C8?
Uh-huh.
I think the C8 was under the asylum or something.
I don't know. I mean, you can just look up the codes for the EADs. Let's see. I think it's C8, but maybe I'm wrong.
Please just
EAD.
verify with me. I think that's the highest problem I have so far.
Well, are you filing separately from your 485? Like you already filed the 485?
I did already. I did that in September.
Why didn't you file you're going to have to pay twice as much now because you didn't include the EAD with the application.
Yeah,
Why do
exactly.
you, Oh, so that was the mistake that you were referencing.
That was a mistake I did.
Got it.
And then I did immediately after. But I did under a wrong category. I did the IR1. Yeah, so it
Instead of
came
CO.
back. Yeah, they said
That's okay.
the mistake was the category. So, and I
Mhm.
was trying to do it online, which is relatively cheaper by some few cents. But then I don't have the category under my USCIS account to select that online. So I have to do it by mail.
Yeah,
So I
it's
was
C9.
confused. It was a
C9, not
C9.
C8.
Thank you. It was a
Yep.
C9.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. I think that
Good
was
luck, brother.
major.
Yep. All right. That was L. Let's go over to Sam. Hello. Sam, you're on mute.
Hi, Jim. Nice meeting you. Can you hear
Yep.
me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I have. I get my green card through asylum. Now I'm about to apply for naturalization. I have a
Great.
couple of questions. One is like for the 11 years I have been in US, I have 3 incidents with the traffic kind of thing. One is like failing to yield traffic. I get citation, which is like $120 something. I mentioned it in my green card application. The second was in California. I get like a camera for passing red light in split of seconds. So they told me was like you need to go to the online course, and once you complete that, it will not be on your record. I did that. My insurance didn't even find about it. But now somebody told me like, no, even if it's cleared, it's in their record. So did I need to mention that?
Yes.
And the third one was like, recently in my property, I get a city ordinance. There were a trash which they found in the perimeter of the city, not in my property. So I was out of the city, but I couldn't dispute it. So like I just paid $300. So is city ordination like you need to mention it in the citation?
Those are all citations. Yep. You have to list all of them.
Okay. Is that a problem? Like having it's not.
Nope.
And the second one, the biggest one, was like a couple of years ago. There was, if you remember, there was Experian data breach where millions of people SSN number was like leaked. Mine was, I checked it, they sent me mail. So at that time, like I had identity fraud issues. Somebody tried to create a credit card in other states, and like it hits my credit score. I contacted the credit bureaus. I removed that fraudulent account. I made a police report, but the police told me like this happened to millions of people, so we don't do much. You just need to report FTC report and remove the fraudulent account from the credit bureau and froze your credit on those credit bureau. I did that. It's frozen. I didn't have any problem, but now I am applying citizenship because I know like some while ago somebody. So like, did I need to mention? There was no question about like most of like what kind of crime you committed. There's no question about like what happened to you. So did I need to report this? Is it a problem? Like,
no, it has nothing to do with what you're doing.
Okay. I think those are my questions. Thank you.
Look, thanks, Sam.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna go to Hello Jim, then XYZ, then Just Incredible, and we'll do TikTok after Hello Jim. We'll ask some TikTok questions from Hina. Hello Jim. Hello.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you again for everything that you're doing for all of us. I did speak to you a couple of weeks ago, but I have a small question in regards to our last conversation. I don't know if you remember, but it was the story about filing a marriage petition from the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we spoke about people getting detained at the interviews. I don't know if you remember, but I can give you the story again.
Are you talking about Miami?
Yeah, remember we.
Yeah, I'm glad you called back because I looked into that story, and those were people who had ICE check-ins. Those were not people coming to USCIS for an immigration interview. So,
okay, so you have.
So let me just say.
Sorry.
As of right now, I have not heard of green card applicants getting detained by ICE at a I-130 45 interview.
You have not heard. Okay.
I have not heard that.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that then. Thank you. So I have a follow-up small question. I'll remind you the story a little bit. Basically, this is for a family member of mine who came to the country in 2005 on a tourist visa. She came with her 2 daughters, and then transferred to a H4 visa under her husband's H1B in 2005. And then her husband passed away in 2012, so she overstayed her visa.
Yep.
And in 2024, in February, she married a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
She applied this year in January 27th was her receipt date.
Yep.
and then she received the interview notice on March 19th for interview on April 24th. So they ended up skipping her EAD and her social security number.
Yeah.
And she didn't expect to get a interview so quickly. So my question to you is, they wanted to file taxes together, and she has not received her social security number. And their interview is on the 24th of April.
So that ship has sailed. Yeah, okay, that's fine. What's the question?
So do they file taxes together? Are there any options, or do they not file the taxes together this year?
Oh, because she doesn't have that's all questions for the accountant. I don't know if I mean she could get an ITIN number, but I mean, how's her let's I think this is what I said last time. Let's just put this to the side. Who cares? What other evidence does she have? That's the real
So
thing.
she
This
has
is
a.
just one piece of evidence.
Oh well, I don't know. We don't know, but she has a lease. They moved in together in November, even though they got married in last March. He also, I have another question for you. He used to, before getting married, about a year before that, the U.S. citizen used to live in a Section 8 housing area, but eventually he got paid more, so he got off of the Section 8. He's no longer accepting Section 8 housing, but he wanted to keep that same apartment, because that apartment could be Section 8 or non-Section 8, but the building is federally funded by the government. So he wanted to keep the apartment. And in the meanwhile, they looked for another apartment to move, because he also wanted to live with his wife. So he moved in with his wife in November. And then they've been living there from November up until now, and he's still holding on to that other apartment because eventually when she gets her green card, they want to move her there since she's not allowed to be in that building.
So this is really stupid. So this is exact. So I have seen these denial notices, and what's going to happen is they're going to go over to that address that he's holding in Section 8, and they're going to say, "Hey, where's this guy? And where's his wife?" And they're going to make all kinds of hay with the fact that they're playing funny business with their addresses as it relates to Section 8. They hate this. So,
But he's not on Section 8 anymore.
hey, sweetheart, did you hear what I said?
Sorry.
I don't know why you're fighting me. This lady is not doing things the right way. She's 20 years out of, she's 17, 13 years out of status. She can't have any shit like this. This is shit that makes cases get denied.
Okay.
So if you're asking me for my advice, I'm telling you, everything she's doing is dumb.
Okay. So well, they do have a, well, I was going to give you the evidence. And
Go.
yes, there's a checking account together, savings account together. There's
Do they use the accounts? Do they put all
yes,
the money in there? Do they pay their bills out of it?
everything. The pay stubs go in there, all the bills go in there. Even she has a debit card, she uses the account as well. They have a savings account, they have a Aflac insurance together, for dental. They have an internet bill together, they have a lease together, they have a lot of photos from before the marriage and after. um they What else do they have? Her husband recently bought a car, so he added her name onto the title of the car.
That's good. What about,
Yeah.
just to clear up the lease? So, do they live in the same house?
Yes.
And on or house or apartment? The house or apartment that they live
Sorry,
in.
apartment.
Yeah, that's okay. Are they both on the lease?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good.
So yeah, the only reason what they understood was the building he was previously living in. They said this is a federally government building, so nobody with who's undocumented could come in this building, but it can be separately leased even if you don't have Section 8, and it's a very hard apartment to get at that price. So he did not want to give it up. Plus, his mother lives in the same building and she's
Okay,
old.
so I'm just making the prediction that this is going to mess up their shit. I'm just
So
making the prediction that this is going to lead to her denial. I'm telling you that right now.
at the interview, they will ask, and then it will lead to a denial.
No, they're going to come look at their. She's out of status. That's number one on the fraud list. She's out of status for 12 years. So marrying a U.S. citizen cleans up a lot of stuff for her. So they're going to go at her hard. What state is this in?
The Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yeah, so maybe they don't work that hard over there. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is cutting off your nose to spite your face. This is I mean, here's what I honestly think. From an immigration standpoint, I don't give a crap about that apartment. So
Okay.
people have to make decisions in their lives about what's more important. Is the most important thing to get my spouse, who I love, a green card, or is the best thing to do? Is the most important thing to hold on to my apartment? Because the ironic thing is, if she don't get the green card, she ain't moving in there anyway.
Right. They just never thought that could have been a problem for the green card.
Then they should come over to my office and read all these denial notices that I've seen over the last 6 months, where they do a background check and they figure out, what address did you tell the credit card company you live at? If he's holding any kind of relationship to that former Section 8 housing, they're going to nail him for it. And it's easy. It's an easy denial. And then you know what? Off she goes to deportation.
Oh my God. They didn't know that. I mean,
Yeah, that's because they're not talking to an immigration lawyer. They're reading things on the internet, and they're talking to their friends in the Virgin Islands who don't know anything. That's why. Thanks for the call.
I have another question, Mr. Jim.
Real quick.
Yeah, so back to the taxes. I know you said you're not an accountant. I understand that, but at this point, if they wanted to file taxes together, do you suggest for them to take an extension possibly? And
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
If they file together or not, it doesn't matter at this point.
I mean, they're not going to win or die on this hill. This is another case where people are focusing on the wrong things. They don't know what they're talking about, so they're obsessing about one stupid little thing when it's the overall case. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't really matter, and it doesn't seem like she's going to get a Social Security card. So, I don't think it really matters.
Okay.
Thanks. When people call back a second time, I sort of hold them to a higher standard. And what that means is they're going back and feeding that information to the person, instead of having the person hire a lawyer, me or somebody else, who actually knows their shit. You can't rely on secondhand information you get from a YouTube lawyer who's not your lawyer. And he said they can't do it secondhand, because stuff gets lost in translation. Remember that game when we were kids called Telephone, where there's somebody stands at one end of the room and there's 10 kids, and you whisper 10. I should make a video about this. That would be really good. Like, the immigration lawyer gives advice, and then there's 10 different immigrants sharing the information, and then see what comes out on the back end. Man, oh man. Brenda, if you want to call our firm to hire us, the phone number is 314-961-8200. Yes, content idea. Thank you, Hina. The email address is info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. Let's give our friends on TikTok some love. I love TikTok, @immigration hacking. I was at at this conference today, and the main speaker, or the MC, her last name is Holler, Holler, which means to yell or scream. And so she said that her name is a verb. Her last name is a verb. So she's always been an action person because she's got a verb. Well, I have an action word too, hacking, which is a verb. So I think in a lot of ways we have hacked immigration, and that's what we do here, is we try to hack it, make it better, make it easier, and explain that stuff to you guys. So our handle on TikTok is @immigration hacking. And now I'm going to answer some questions. No complaining about the waiting room being full, SA. The reason it's full is because people want to ask me questions for free. TikTok. Karen, is there a travel ban for F1 students? No. And there wasn't last time. It was for immigrant visas. We don't know what's going to happen this time. Jalel, I got my 2-year green card, and my wife, she threw me out of the apartment. She wants to divorce me. What can I do? There's a way for you to stay in the United States and get the conditions removed. You're going to have to prove that it was a real marriage that just didn't work out. There's some waivers. One is it's a good faith marriage that just didn't work out. One is that she was abusive. So you probably need to talk to a divorce attorney, because you need to be divorced. You need to talk to an immigration attorney, Jalal. So sorry you're going through that. Zachary Mohameda, I came on a CR1 visa 4 months ago. I didn't receive my green card yet. What should I do? Start bugging the shit out of USCIS. That's ridiculous. Jill Rodriguez, how long is it taking to have an answer about the waivers 601 and 212? It's been about a year. I think it's at least 2 years or longer. Apple Eyes Ahmed. What's up, Apple Eyes? I just had an apple for lunch. Do you advise someone to file themselves for 751? We have all the information in a child together. No, not these days. I wouldn't file anything by myself except maybe an I-90. Emmanuel, what if you got fired from a cruise ship and they revoke your visa? Can you get them back again? Fired for drug use? I have no idea. Probably not. What is your advice? Ropach says, what is your advice traveling with an approved I-601A through the consular process? I think you have no choice, so you just got to go for it. Epic Moment 2020. Admitting illegal work on marriage-based green card is okay. Well, I want to talk it through. Obviously it matters if you're married to a U.S. citizen or not. That's the big thing. So you always got to tell the truth. But what effect that will have? Oh, there it is. There's my favorite mustache and cowboy hat. Thank you. It doesn't say who sent it, but thank you. You guys know I love that thing, and now I'm getting roses. How about that? All right, we'll come back to TikTok and ask some more questions in a little bit. All right, let's go back to the phones. We go. XYZ, hello.
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
All great. Thank you for asking, and thank you for patience. Your patience. I don't think we thank you enough for taking all those questions.
All good.
So I'm a long-time listener, and thank you for being a great companion through this journey. We started with asylum. We all of us, myself and my family, we have green cards. Everything is going great. My N400 is, I would say, over 2.5 years away. The problem, I've been keeping an eye on what's happening with the immigration world, and I saw a problem that got me a little bit concerned. I saw a guy applying for his green card based on asylum, and then they claimed there was a discrepancy because on the 589, he mentioned he was persecuted in his home country. However, in the 485, he didn't mention the rest. So it got me to open my files and look at my 485, which due to unforeseen circumstances, I applied for it without a lawyer. I was just laid off work and I had to go for it. So for that question, I'm not sure if I mentioned on the 485 that I was arrested in my country of persecution. However, I did clearly state that, and it's on the statement and the question on my form 589. I requested Freedom of Information Act for both 589 and 485, and I actually tried to reach out to your office, but basically I'm losing sleep over if it comes down to this. I don't know. It's going to take a month for the Freedom of Information, so I know for a fact what did I do in that question. But here's the thing: with my benefit over 2.5 years in the future, would you proactively send like an explanation letter? Hey, I messed up. With the current administration that's already fishing for stuff, or would you wait it out and give the same letter with the N400?
Okay, so this is a great question, and it's a topic, that I need to make a video on and go into great detail on. So, you are 100% right that USCIS has begun spending more time in reviewing somebody's green card or naturalization application by looking at their asylum application. Okay. So you're absolutely right that at the green card, clearly they didn't do it on your case. Did you have an interview on your green card?
I didn't.
Okay. So that means when you sit for Nats that they're going to be saying, this is the first person. Did you get asylum from the judge or from an asylum officer?
No, from the officer.
Okay. So they're going to say, this is the first time we've gotten to talk to XYZ since he had his asylum interview back in the day. Okay.
Right.
So, I think that it will be fair game for them to ask you why you didn't list the arrest. I've seen denial notices like this lately, right? So why didn't you list the arrest on your 45? Now, ordinarily, I might be a little bit worried about that. But the thing I think you have in your back pocket is clearly you're applying for a green card based on asylum. So it's not like you were applying for, like you got asylum and then you applied for a green card based on marriage. The asylum was the the sum total of why you were eligible for a green card. So I think you have that going for you. But more importantly, I think you have going for you that whether you were arrested back in your home country by a dirty regime that the United States felt justified in giving you asylum, whether that would have affected your ability to get the green card or not, I think is debatable, right? So the Supreme Court has made clear that in order for a misrepresentation to be important enough to cause you further trouble, like at your naturalization, did you cut off a valid line of inquiry by failing to disclose your arrest back in the home country? Now, I think doing a FOIA is a really good idea, because if there's more than just your I-589 that references your arrest, like the more evidence that you can demonstrate that USCIS knew about it, even though you didn't put it on your I-45, makes your case stronger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And actually, to your point, like the Supreme Court has ruled like I had to cut some line, like that.
Cut off the line of inquiry. And was it material? Was it important? Was it something like if you quote unquote misrepresented what color shirt you were wearing when you came through customs, that's not. Now, I think an arrest is generally closer to material, and an arrest back in the home country would probably, I mean, truth be told,
let me clarify this.
Yeah.
I fully disclosed this on my 589.
Yeah, I know.
It was the basis of my asylum.
I know.
So they had this information at their disposal, right?
But yes, and that's your argument, right? That's your argument. But the question is, if you had marked yes about an arrest on the 485, do we think the officer would have asked you about it? And I think the answer almost is entirely yes. Don't you?
Yeah, I agree.
So all that being said, this is what I would do. You've already done a FOIA. I would specifically FOIA the asylum office and try to get the officer's notes. They'll say you're not eligible for them, but you are entitled to the asylum officer's notes. You might have to like hire a lawyer to fight that out. But I think getting, if you can show every which way this was in their system and they still went ahead and gave you a green card, I think that makes you more sympathetic. Now, all that being said, I would not, you said 2.5 years you're eligible for citizenship. I would wait until the next administration and see what happens with the next election. I would not file with this administration.
I see. Obviously, this was not the outcome I was looking for, but I understand, because let's talk worst case scenario. Yeah. Like if my lawyer send them this letter of declaration that I'm sorry, that's an honest mistake, they might let it slip, put it in the file, or they can take me to deportation, right? Like they can take me to court basically over it.
Well, yeah. You mean if you apply for NATS, or if you write them a letter now?
No, right away. Proactively send it to them. Like the worst case.
No, we're not doing that. I would not do that. There's nothing good is going to come of that.
Right, but here's my question. I would rather take the 2 years in court right now than waiting for 2.5 years, and then having to go through court. Does that make sense?
Well, maybe, but maybe a normal president comes in and you don't have to go to court at all.
I understand.
Also, the idea that they're actually going to open up your file and attach whatever letter you and your lawyer send to them and revisit your green card case, they've moved on. Right. They're not going to go back and do what you asked them to do. They're not going to go back and ask you to amend your green card application and reopen the case. I mean, and the last thing is, if they bump you back to asylum grantee, that, you still get to stay here, you still get to work. Obviously, it's not what you want, but I don't think that means you're going to get deported.
Who knows? I don't know the current administration. I'm having my concerns, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, I don't want to take much of your time over this. I want to hire your office over this. I sent them an email and they said come to the show. I send it to you.
If you hire our office, we're not sending that letter. So if you want someone to send that letter, talk to somebody else.
Right.
There's no way in hell I'm sending that letter.
You're that certain. Like
There's
this.
no way in hell I'm sending that letter.
I gotcha. Okay, so the next part of my question is I actually wanted to hire the office just in case someone gets tangled in something, like who's the current administration. I never know. A
Yeah.
trip to Walmart might be like, you seen those guys being deported all over the place. And I really don't want to be in that situations and try to figure out an immigration lawyer. So I wanted to ask you, like, do you have any retainer options or anything? Like,
No, and we're not doing deportation right now. So,
Gotcha.
So hopefully you won't need us. Hopefully we'll just chill and you'll get your citizenship, or when the time comes to apply for citizenship, we reopen all this.
But your final judgment would be don't send the letter, opens a can of worms, obviously in 4 years after his term. If not,
I don't think anything good happens from me sending that letter now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jim.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
All right, we're going to go to Justin, and then El Malik El Shabazz is here, Malcolm X. So let's go to Justin. Hello.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
And congratulations on going over 800.
Thank you.
So I have a couple questions for you. If a person is a legal permanent resident but have a criminal record, multiple DUIs and felony, apply for citizenship, even though it took 4 years to get an interview, passed the interview but was denied due to the criminal record.
Yeah.
But currently at the moment before applying again is applying and requesting for the expungement dismissal. Is that better for eligibility?
It has nothing to do with it. The USCIS does not consider expungements as part of their analysis. So the big question for you is, when was the last date of any kind of consequence, probation, driving school, court dates? When was everything finished?
Oh, it's been over 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, a long time ago.
And they denied it?
Yeah.
What'd they say? Not good moral character?
Yeah.
For a 10-year-old, 2 DUIs from 10 years ago?
Yeah.
That's crap.
Yeah.
I would have appealed that. How long ago did they deny it?
I want to say about 2 years ago.
Okay.
2 years ago. But it took like 4 years to get the interview.
Well, so
that was weird. I actually had to send them a letter. It probably fell through the cracks.
So on the day you file, there's a 5-year look back, right?
Right.
So on the day you filed, had you already had 5 years of no activity on either DUI?
Yeah, there was nothing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in a normal world, I might say apply again. For now, I might just say chill.
Right. Okay. So another question is, also applied last year for a travel document for a re-entry permit. And that's for me to go out of the country. Was planning to this year, but I'm probably gonna not do that.
Yeah.
Do you advise that? I mean, just recently went on a cruise out of the country, came back through U.S. Customs with no issues.
My advice for everybody now is, if you're not a citizen, don't apply.
Wow. Not even apply? Well, I mean, I applied last year.
I mean, not leave. I mean, you can get the reentry permit. Reentry permit lets you leave the United States and come back, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to be allowed back in. That's just for people that are taking trips of longer than 6 months. That's all that does.
Gotcha. Okay.
No.
So
and what I said to the team, we had dinner last night. I said, I believe that the current administration and CBP has taken the position that they can relitigate decisions made by USCIS under Obama and Biden that they don't like, and see if they can F with people at the border and rehash things that were already resolved, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Understand. Okay.
Well, thanks, brother.
Yeah. So no, just real quick, back to the expungement. I mean, I just heard from like a few attorneys saying that doing an expungement to dismissal actually makes you more eligible, or
that's completely false.
False.
100%.
So should I wait to apply again for citizenship, or?
I would wait until this administration's gone to apply for citizenship. Not that I think you're going to lose it. I just don't think you'll get it.
Gotcha.
If you didn't get it under Biden, I don't think you're going to get it under Trump.
Gotcha. All right. That's all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. See you, bud.
Appreciate it.
Let's go over to Malcolm X. Hello.
Hello, Jim. This is Malcolm X. I appreciate you taking my call. You changed
Sure,
so
brother.
many lives, and God bless you. You're amazing. You should be on People's Magazine. So,
Thank you.
I have a few questions. I've been a green card holder since 2008 or 9, and what's kept me from applying for citizenship, in my opinion, was I did have some encounters with the law, about 3 of them. And first of all, I apologize for the noise. I'm a truck driver and I'm just parked off the road, and it's raining, and there's a lot of
I
that.
can't hear any of it, so you're fine.
Oh, great. So I want to try and be quick, but it seems like I've been waiting so long and I have so many questions. So here's the thing.
Hey, take as long as you want. Take as long as you want.
Thank you. I'm excited. I've been a green card holder since 2008. I just got one recently renewed about 2 years ago. And I want to start with the address thing that you kind of talked about at the start of this show, because first of all, let me say that I want to apply for citizenship soon. That's my question. But I have some issues with the address that I want you, before I forget, because I just didn't know anything about it until you mentioned it today. So I currently hold a Wisconsin license out of, Wisconsin, and I'm off the road all the time. And legally, I changed my address 2 years ago to an Illinois address, which I have access to, and I actually stay there now. So I kind of moved from Wisconsin, but I did not switch over my license to Illinois yet. However, I do receive most of my mail there, like, insurance, bank statements and all that. In fact, I have the one that I changed the address to, like with the USCIS, was 2 years ago, and I haven't. So I want to know how that affects me, because you mentioned something about living at the address for 90 days. Do they consider my license, or do they consider when I actually change the address? So that's one. I don't know if you want to answer that before I go into the next one.
Let's do that. Can we go back though to, is this a marriage-based green card case or some other green card?
Oh, I apologize. I did get asylum through, green card through asylum, and it's just me over here. No beneficiaries. Yes,
so I don't have to worry about, okay. Well, truck drivers often have sort of, ever-changing addresses. So when you're off the road, do you ever sleep somewhere, or do you just stay in the truck?
Always in the truck, except for I go back to Chicago a lot, and that's where the address is. So I do sleep there when I'm in Chicago. So like at least once a week, roughly, or once every couple of weeks.
Yeah. So I would say that the 90-day rule would have messed you up if you had moved from Wisconsin and applied, with your new Chicago address. But that's your residence for the last 2 years. You just have a job that takes you on the road. So I would take the position that your Chicago address in the Northern District of Illinois is where your address has been since you moved from Wisconsin.
Right. So it doesn't matter if I haven't switched over my license yet, because it's still a Wisconsin license.
Well,
but I have no.
That's a different question. So, I mean, one of the way, if your residence becomes an issue, then one of the things they're going to ask is, well, let's see your license, and so like if you let's say you freaked out about this a week before you filed for citizenship, and then you filed, I think they would use the address change on your driver's license as a way to screw you. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So I would get that taken care of right away.
Okay. So most importantly, from what I'm reading from you, because I do have an agency in applying for citizenship, so I wanted to ask you at the end of it all if, first of all, I should apply now, and right now with this new thing coming in with the address, should I change my address now and wait 90 days?
Yes.
And you can.
Yes. That's what you should do.
Thank you so much. So I do have 2 things that have been preventing me from filing, because I think I've been eligible for a while. I have 3 transgressions. So I did have, the most recent one was I'll give it about around 2014, 2015. I was stopped driving, and I was breatharized, and pretty much they call it, I want to say DUI, but I resolved it in court, and I did everything that I needed to do, including, community service. But what really ended up happening was they claimed that brought it down. So my charge right now that's on my record is reckless driving, but I was stopped with open container and also drinking. So that's from 10 years ago, pretty much.
Yep.
And the other two are before that. One of them was not showing up to court when they asked me to come there just for a regular ticket. I didn't get the mail, but somehow they said, you should have been here. So they put me in jail for 5 days for contempt of court, and I served 3 days, and I was released, and that's over. And then the last one was I was in Iowa, and they told us to leave a bar, and me and my friends, I think we took longer than they liked, and they called the police, so I got arrested for public intoxication and criminal trespass. But I did go to court. I explained to them I was a student at the time, so they also dismissed that. That's really my 3 things with the law. And
dismiss it without you having to do any community service or anything.
Honestly, sir, I do not recall doing any community service at all for that.
So do you have the records from all these?
Yes, I did make sure that I get those. I could be wrong, but I don't remember doing community service for that particular one. But I did get the records from the court. I called them, they mailed them to me, because at some point I wanted to apply for myself, but I held on. So the last thing, because I don't want to take so much time, about my issue with filing for naturalization is the taxes. I've been doing terrible with taxes because I had a lot of issues that I'm not going to explain here, but obviously I wanted to pay taxes, but somehow I was behind. So recently, about a month or 2 ago, I'm current with the taxes, but I owe so much money. So I filed the taxes, but I do owe money from pretty much like 2016 until now. So I owe like 43,000, 46,000. It could be a little bit more than that after making some adjustments, because the guy filing for me is going to make some adjustments. He said there's some things he didn't put in. So let's call it 55,000 roughly. So that's where I stand, and I want to apply for my citizenship. I really need it soon because I want to go home. I have a partner outside, in fact, my wife. So that's really the situation. The other last question, maybe I'll come back on the show after you tell me about the citizenship thing, and then ask you about how I can apply for her. Or if you want to answer now, you can tell me if I can also apply for her when I apply for my citizenship, just currently. So that's my questions. I appreciate you taking me, and I may have a very last one for a friend, but if you don't have time, I can come back on the show next time.
We'll skip the friend for now.
Thank you.
So I have a couple thoughts.
Yes, sir.
One is, there's a question on the N400 called, have you ever been a habitual drunkard?
Mm-hmm.
So with all those arrests, or two of them, they all seemed sort of alcohol related. So I think you might have to be able to explain some things about drinking. All right. So be ready for that.
Right. And if you like, I may, because if I'm asked that, I would still like to have had your advice about specifically the one in, if it doesn't matter, then I shouldn't even tell you the story. But the one in Iowa where they kicked us out, it's really not that I was creating any violence or anything. We were not even drunk. We were there legally and everything. We were just taking a few beers, but I think because we're over the legal limits or something, they told us to leave because we were playing pool and one of them fell off and they were charging us money, and we said this is ridiculous, and then the guys said leave. So then we said let's just finish our beers and go. So that's the situation.
Okay, but then if I were to ask the IRS how many years in a row has Malcolm not paid his taxes, what would they say?
I did make some payments previously, but I would say, let me answer your question. I think probably 4 or 5, I think.
So in order to become a citizen, you have to have all of those gathered up into one thing and be on a payment plan for all those 5 years. In other words, your tax returns have to be right, and you have to be on a payment plan for all outstanding years. That's the last thing I forgot to mention, because we did file for a payment plan recently, and we're waiting for it to get approved. There was one that was approved, but then we added on a couple more years to be current to 2024. So we're waiting on that final one, but I believe that there should be one very soon. Okay. Well, good luck.
Oh, so you told me? Are you telling me that if I have a payment plan with the IRS and wait 90 days for my issue with the address, I should be okay to file?
I mean, I don't think it's unsafe to file. Whether it's going to be granted or not, I don't know. I think officers could get hung up on different things. They might just say, they might just say, this is a truck driver who drives around, causes trouble, and doesn't do what he's supposed to, doesn't pay his taxes. I mean, I think if I were you, I'd be thinking probably about how can I get some evidence of good moral character, if there's any volunteer work I do or anything, people that could write letters with affidavits saying that I'm a good person. I mean, if you were to ask me what do I think the chances of success are, I would say 49%.
Oh wow. What do I need to do? Let's see, even if I have to wait to get my chances up, or is that a done deal?
Well, the tickets and stuff, all that is old, right? That's all old stuff. That's all 10 years old. So I would say get all your taxes paid so that doesn't even become an issue. Nail down your address, and then I think it gets better. It's the taxes right now that I think are the biggest problem.
Okay, if I get a payment plan for like $1,000 and I pay like, let's say 3 months as I wait or something, is that a good time to do? Or you're telling me I have to pay the whole 50,000 first?
I would say that, I mean, my prime directive as a lawyer is to take away reasons for them to say no. And I think being behind 50,000 and paying 3, I don't think they're going to find that all compelling.
Okay.
I mean, legally they can, but I don't think they will. I think if I'm an officer and I go back to see the supervisor and I say, hey, I got this guy, he's got a couple little criminal stuff, nothing ticky, it's all ticky tax stuff from 10 years ago. I'm not worried about that. Let me just run these taxes by you. He's 50,000 in the hole. He's got a payment plan. He's made 3 months worth of payments. What do you say? And I think that the supervisor will say, yeah, let's deny him and let him come back in a year or two, and we'll see if he's halfway done paying off the 50.
Okay, so you can reapply after being denied and shouldn't affect you that much? If, let's say, by that time in 2 years I would have paid off everything?
I would say it's always better to not have a denial on your history.
Yes, sir.
Now, listen. What, this person back in your home country that you said you had a lady back home or something?
Yes, my wife.
Oh, so you are married. And have you filed an I-130 for her?
Not yet. That's what I wanted to ask you, because she's outside. We haven't been seeing each other for 3 years, and I was gonna travel there. Today is her birthday, but because of this thing with the Trump and everything and my record, I listened to you and I decided not to go. So it's really, really sad that we're not together. And now I wanted to file for my citizenship to get a chance of going there, because she applied for a visa 2 years ago and didn't get it. So I haven't done the I-130. That was my next question. Is it, if I decide to stay here and stay on a green card, do you think I have a good chance of applying for her?
Well, it's a 4-year wait. It's a 4-year wait. So she wouldn't really come until you got your citizenship anyway. So here's one last.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a backlog. One last thing. The reason they wouldn't give you your citizenship is because you're asking them to be your bank. In other words, you're asking them to carry you for not having paid your taxes for 5 or 6 years.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to get your citizenship, taking out a loan to pay down a lot of those taxes.
Yes, sir.
A loan has nothing to do with whether or not you get your citizenship. So I would try to figure out a way to pay that off a lot faster. I think that's your best shot.
Okay. And what's a good percentage? Like if I knock off like 50%, is that good enough?
Yeah.
Or you want to say maybe even 80 better?
No, I'd say 50 or 60. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. And
I would say it this way: with every 10,000 you pay down, your chances probably go up 5%.
So the taxes, you're looking at it as the biggest hold for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, one last important thing. I did get I had you say it on the show a few days ago. During the wait, I wanted to go to my country, and I applied for a travel document and it didn't come. So eventually,
wait. Time out. Did you just say that you want to go back to your country?
No, I have never done that. I guess I meant Africa, Michael. Yeah, the continent. No, I've never been. I've never been to my country. I did not intend to go there. But the beautiful thing about it is like U.S. and Canada. So I could fly to Rwanda and see some family who are able to come meet me there, and that's what I've done. My dad needed surgery, so I was going there, and he was coming to Rwanda to get whatever. So because of the urgency, I applied for a online for a passport from my country, and I never stepped there, but they sent it over to me here. Would that be a problem as well?
Yeah, you shouldn't be getting, if you got asylum from your home country, you shouldn't be getting a passport from your home country. And more importantly, you shouldn't be leaving. I'm going to let you go, Malcolm. Good luck, my friend. Man, that guy had a lot of questions. All right. I think it's okay to discuss someone's case in the comments, and it's not necessarily judging. I agree we don't judge, but I think people can say what they want in the comments about a case. I'm not too worried about it. It's just when people are mean or say, you're going to get denied or you're a liar, that's when we get upset. But people can talk about what they think about a case. Natchi, these are back to TikTok. Natchi, I filed my I-129F in August, got approved in December, sent to State Department January 8th. Cases in Baghdad. They have limited interview available. Should I transfer or wait for my time? I would try to transfer. Peter NJR, USCIS canceled request for additional evidence. Is this normal? I would call them and see what was the request and what happened. It could be normal. Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Do we apply for COC for 21-year-old international adopted child? He has a passport. Or is it dangerous and be put on the radar? I don't know. I'd have to look at all the facts and see. That's getting a certificate of citizenship is complicated. So I would want to make sure you did all the right things. I don't think it's something to get deported over, although I guess it could be, but I would want to look at it. EB3, any movement expected soon? What about perms? June? No, I think those are going to go slow. I don't think anybody wants to approve those or get those moving. Pepito, I just found out my husband has 5 felonies. What are my chances of getting my green card? That's an interesting question. I'd be more worried about the fact that you just found out about his felonies and what that says about the state of your marriage. I think that's what immigration would be. Like, I've been in those interviews, or I've heard about those interviews, I should say, where an officer confronts the non-citizen with crimes that the U.S. citizen never disclosed. And it's not so much does the crime render them not eligible to sponsor someone, but rather do they not believe the marriage is real because they're not being truthful with each other. Emmett, U.S. citizen living abroad, coming back in the summer for a visit, has spoken critically on current administration on TikTok and social media every day. What have we suggested to surrendering my phone or not admitted in? I think they can't ask for your phone. I would delete everything off your phone before you come, or I'd ship my phone by FedEx and get a small other phone. Macy Reeves 390. What is too much evidence for a marriage-based interview? I once had this much evidence. This much evidence. That was too much. Just the rule of reasonableness is what we talk about in law school. The rule of is it reasonable? So not too much of any one thing. Can you talk about the updated form I-131 parole in place for non-military? Is Cuban with I-22A? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sorry, Hannah. Free and Velours. Selected for the H-1B, but got admission for master's degree. OPT ends 6/30. Still do CVIS? Yes, absolutely. Get that I-90 updated or I-20 updated depending on what you're going to do. Lawson, can a 21-year-old file for a parent who has an old deportation? Yes, they can file, but it's tricky. You're going to have to get the I-130 approved, then you're going to have to try to get the removal order set aside. So Trump says they're just going to try to execute those old deportation orders. So you got to figure out why the parent hasn't been deported, or if they were deported and they're overseas, then you can work that stuff out if they've been outside for long enough. Master NCI, I made my intentionally made mistake by not including my previous marriage. I can't understand that question. Sorry, Master. I can't understand your question. All right. Let's go to Ciro. Hello. Ciro.
Hi. Okay. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
Okay. So, basically I have an F1 status, and I worked without authorization. I have a social security number, but I used a fake ID with a fake name. And IRS apparently knows about this, and they have a tax refund for me for this tax season. I know this because of the Credit Karma app. I mean, they told me that I have estimated refund tax. I also have a 1099 form pending from an investment account. I don't know what to do. I can't even verify my account on the IRS webpage. I'm not sure if it is because my address or my name doesn't match with my real ID. And that season ends on April 15th, I think. And I don't know what I should do. How can I comply with taxes without getting my status terminated?
So you're on an F1 visa.
No, I mean, I came here as a J1, and then I changed my status to F1.
Okay. So you did work that you weren't entitled to do in the United States.
I mean, I had a social security because of the J1, but I mean, it was just valid through through 4 months, and then I changed the status to F1.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in other words, just stick with me here, okay? Just try to answer my questions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You have worked in the United States without authorization, right?
Yeah.
And did you do that on your J1 or your F1 or both?
I just did it on the F1.
On the F1. So on the J1, you only worked for where you were supposed to, and then the F1, and so when you got your change of status, like you had a social security number, so pretty much employers let you work with that social security number, and you worked.
I mean, okay, so I mean, I worked, I mean, with the social security number on the J1, with the real one. Then when I changed my status to F1, some months later, actually it was just last year.
Uh-huh.
I used a different type of document, and I used it for certain companies. Then,
So
what I did
these are
was
documents that you paid someone to create for you. Like you had your social security number. What other documents did you present? Like a fake green card or what?
Yeah, it was a fake green card. Yeah.
Okay. Why in the world are we talking about whether or not you get your tax return? Why aren't we talking about the fact that you're breaking the law left and right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I did that. I mean, of course, that was not.
I guess what's the long-term plan?
Well, I mean, so I watched some of your videos. I mean, it says that you said that basically so far I didn't apply as a citizenship. As
Yeah,
a citizen, I can,
that's good.
yeah, I can get married and I can fix this that way. So yeah, why am I talking about the taxes? Because, for example,
No. Hold on. If you marry a U.S. citizen, the unauthorized work gets forgiven, but buying a fake green card isn't forgiven. That's a crime.
okay.
So, as an immigration lawyer and an officer of the court, all I can tell you is that any further activity related to your use of a fake green card, which would include getting a tax return, should not happen. You need to stop.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, that I understand. I mean that I can completely understand it.
Okay.
But what about the? So is there a way to fix my immigration status after that? After
Well,
what?
I mean, brother, we have to think about a lot of things. Using a fake green card is a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, it's probably a deportable crime. So this isn't the kind of thing you just call and get advice on. You have to get a criminal defense lawyer and you need to get an immigration lawyer. And right now you're not married. So there's no real reason to work on any of this stuff. You just need to stop perpetuating the fraud. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah, I understand that part. So I have to stop, of course, doing this.
Uh-huh.
And okay, once I stop doing this, and then I go to the lawyers that I need to hire. I mean,
So let's fast forward. So let's say that right now you're sitting across from me with your new U.S. citizen spouse, and you're running this scenario past me. What would I say? I would say first, go talk to the criminal defense attorney because that's a crime. And as an immigration lawyer, I can tell you that's a deportable offense, right? So there's a very, very, very good chance that I would say don't file for a green card at all. That's a very good chance that I would say that.
Okay. So, well, but I mean, okay. So what I can say is that, I mean, I've talked to other lawyers, and I mean, I'm not saying that you are wrong. I'm just saying.
Don't say I'm wrong. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
mean, no, just saying that they told me that everybody basically does this, and that you could be forgiven after you get married. They told me that.
You might be able to get a waiver, but you might also get deported. So any lawyer that's telling you that is just trying to make you feel better or make some money.
Okay.
All right, Sierra, I got to go. We're over time, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Wow, ended with a bang. All right, guys. We're going to do a show tomorrow, probably an airport show from that crappy DC airport. It's really small and not fun to do a show in, but I will try probably just on YouTube. So if you want to get in there and ask me a question tomorrow, 314-961-8200. Dammy says the solution, go back home and don't collect $200. Well, I don't know. Tomorrow's show, probably 12:30. That's what we're going to shoot for, assuming I can get out of here and get through security and pull all that off. And then we'll probably do shows this weekend too. So good luck, Laura, on your last day or your day of giving notice. Thanks, Dammy, and everybody else. Donna, for supporting the show. Thank you, Hina, for helping me out. And again, if you want to know when we're going live, text the word show to 314-470-3300. If you want to do us a favor, please go to Review Hacking Law, HACKING, reviewhackinglaw.com, and leave us a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. Bye, guys. I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of disease.